Good morning, everyone. It's too early for roller derby, but we're going to do this anyway. Welcome to iHod Day 2. Alongside Stephen K, I am Hammer, and we're going to be bringing you the first game of the day between the Austin Anarchy and Toronto Mixed Roller Derby. Going to be a barn burner for sure. Give you a quick recap of what went down yesterday. We got the Beekeepers beat the Chicago Brews Brothers. Lost to the Chicago Brews Brothers, 179 to 185. The Race City Rebels beat Yalhalla, 192 to 122. And the Gatekeepers beat the Carolina Wrecking Balls, 337 to 125. So, without further ado, let's do some lineups to get things going here. First off, on the Austin Anarchy, number 1, Bruiser Lee. 11, Shreddy Krueger. 116 Panic, 119 Truffle Shuffle, 13 S-Pain, 202 Freight Train, 3 Pandemonium Doll, 35 Sharknado, 619 Aquadan, 669 Miss Destruction, 71 Cat Tricks, 721 El Demon, 79 Colonel Angus, 909 Smooth Criminal, 9098 Blu-ray, and they are coached by Rugrat.
And introducing your Toronto men's roller derby team, starting off with number 6, Starscream, 100, Peaks Slaminade. 11, Billy the Kid. 12, Stevie. 137, D-Ray. 1701, Pip. 222, Spencer Sleep. 2304, Dijon. 25, Bosch. 41, Gray. 474, Curly. 81, The Dictator. 888, Senior Wiener. And they're being coached by the great beings from beyond.
Our skating officials for today's game: Richie Cranium, Ninja Sassum, Rough Draft, Elemental, Laddie, and Thriller. We are just moments away from the first whistle of Day 2 of iHod 2025. Got 5 games coming at you today, a full lineup. Roughly 10 hours of derby adventure on tap for today. Oh, and right off the bat, we got a scoreboard issue, so we're going to have a bit of a delay.
So you say 10 hours of derby? I think I'm already ready for a nap.
Yeah. Yeah, I seem to recall just moments ago you were telling me it was too early to be yawning. I was like, I never stopped.
I only say it's too early to be on because I don't want to start.
Yep.
Why is the scoreboard edging us right
I will say it's better to have a scoreboard issue before the game starts than in the middle, so...
We just always go back to whiteboards.
Oof. Yikes.
Or even worse yet, the minor penalty trackers.
Yes, let's bring back the poodling. We're showing our age right now, talking about poodling and minors. We've been doing this for too long.
That's what happens when you grow up watching it. Our scoreboard being brought to you by Microsoft Blue Screen of Death today.
Brought to us by Windows Me.
Okay, what's worse, Vista or me?
Oh, Me, by far.
Okay.
Windows Me was, I don't think anybody ever used Me. A lot of people had to use Vista. Hasta la vista, baby. Would like to thank the tens of fans in the crowd this morning. Here bright and early for Derby. Appreciate you all. You can tell it's early. The chat for the feed is quiet. Usually, if anybody's on this early, they've got lots of things to say already. So,
Yeah, no Johnny Pepper in there this morning or anything.
yeah. I was about to say that the skaters should stay warmed up, but I don't think that's going to be a problem today with how warm it's going to be in here.
Yeah.
It's not too bad yet, but it's going to get worse. They're predicting a high of 97 with about 85% humidity today, so it's going to be...
Oh, I didn't even look at the humidity. I didn't even think, oh, God.
I love I love drinking my air.
Uh-huh. All right, scoreboard's back up on this side. Progress. Loading screen. Please insert disc 7 of 15.
20 go to 10. The old standard IT hack. Have you turned it off and back on again?
Shut up, reboot. Shut up, hang up.
That's right. I am an IT professional. I know all about these things. That's my day job. Hey, I think we're about to get underway here. It's a little bit of a delay to start things off. Starting things off for Austin Anarchy on the Derby Beast Jammer line. That's Sharknado, but it's going to be...
Sharknado and Senior Wiener.
Yeah,
Looks like
Senior Wiener is your lead jammer to start things off for Toronto.
Sharknado making an initial pass now. Toronto on a scoring pass. Picking up 2 and calling it off.
Next up on the Derby Beast Jam line for Austin, that's Freight Train. And for Toronto, that is Stevie. And Freight Train's going to be your lead jammer for Austin. And we got a track cut on Stevie. So our first power jam of the game comes in the second jam.
And Anarchy losing Colonel Angus, it looks like, taking a long way around to the penalty box. That'd be the CVM Sports penalty box.
Yeah, Colonel Angus, that's a name we're going to have to be very careful pronouncing today. Freight Train on the second scoring pass. Another 4 points there for Austin.
Freight Train's third scoring pass. And Stevie's penalty time over, making that initial pass through, putting that star back on to get those points. Freight Train on her fourth pass, gets checked out, going to go ahead and call it off, picking up a final 3 points. Total 15-0 advantage for Anarchy.
Next up on the Derby Beast jammer line, that looks like Bruiser Lee for Austin.
D-Ray.
And, yeah, D-Ray for Toronto.
And D-Ray's out first for Toronto, lead jammer. Austin losing a blocker. And Toronto losing their pivot.
Each team right now with one player in the CVM penalty box.
Toronto breaks out, gets on the board. Or excuse me, I guess they were already. My bad. I missed the first two.
Yeah, star pass to Aquadan. We have our first star pass of the game now. If you're just joining us, Austin in the black, Toronto in white.
Four apiece per team as jam ends. And also coming out first lead jammer, that's going to be Sharknado, Dijon jamming for Toronto. Sharknado in the pack now, working against Toronto's defense at the back of the pack, breaks through, whistles on the far straightaway. Austin losing the blocker. Dijon on the scoring pass, rolling up on the pack. Sharknado's going to call it off, deny those points. 4-0 advantage, Austin. $25-15 on the clock. Austin with the early lead, 23-10 to Toronto's 10. Jam number 5 about to start. Austin looking to get one last blocker before whistle starts. Freight Train jamming for Austin, Senior Wiener for Toronto.
Oh, we got a power jam here. Senior Wiener takes a seat in the CVM penalty box. So a power jam now for Austin and Freight Train.
Toronto's pivot dragging Freight Train back, finally breaks out, lead jammer. Still a minute 24 in jam time. Looks like we got a track cut on Freight Train.
Yeah, ouch.
So we'll have a 2-minute jam now.
Yep.
And Senior Wiener on a power jam with that penalty time over. Good opportunity for Toronto to get some of those points. Senior breaks through out of turn 3, comes away 4 points. And we've got a directional on the far side. Senior Wiener's second pass there. Austin losing the blocker. Back at the back now. Third pass for Senior Wiener in Toronto. Third pass. And Freight Train in the pack now on a scoring pass.
That jam comes to its natural conclusion. Let's get a point total. I see 16 on the board for Toronto, 4 on the board for Austin. So now just 1 point separating these two squads. Austin still on top, 27-26, 22-43 to go here in the first half.
.22 and a half to go. A track cut on Stevie here. And Bruiser Lee going to be lead jammer for Austin. And power jam. And Austin losing one of their blockers.
So Bruiser Lee calls that jam off while Stevie stands in the CVM penalty box. So it'll be a power start here for Austin. So on the Derby Beast jammer line to start this jam, it looks like it's going to be Sharknado. Austin with one blocker in the penalty box. So a 4-on-3 pack advantage to start here for Toronto.
And Sharknado out first, obviously, with that power start. Going to lead jammer. And we lost another Austin blocker. And we got a destruction call here, or the pack not, with the pack breaking right in front of us. And Stevie's on the power jam.
Full penalty box right now for Austin. 2 blockers and the jammer. Power jam here for Stevie.
And with that pass, Toronto takes the lead for the moment. Sharknado hangs on, gets past the inside of turn 1, picking up 4 points. Stevie picking up another 4 for Toronto. Here comes Sharknado on the inside, coming out of turn 2. Stevie rolls up on the pack, goes to the outside. Checked out, brought back to turn 1. Sharknado cuts on the outside of turn 2, gets low, beam dips, checked out. And looks like a tornado blocker, or a Toronto blocker gets caught on forearms. Stevie still trapped in the pack, but down to the final 5 seconds. Sharknado hangs on with a Scoozy on the outside of turn 2, picking up 3 final points. Signal for Stevie and Toronto.
And we got ourselves a lead change, and now we've got...
Official timeout.
Yeah, we got our first Toy Division timeout. It's an official timeout.
Officially an official Toy Division timeout.
That's right. Toy Division's an inclusive store and community for anyone who loves toys, video games, collectibles, and everything in between. Make sure you follow Toy Division on Instagram to find out where their next show appearance will be. You can find them on the iHod link tree, linktr.ee/iHod. So we can quickly take a look at the Umbrella Corporation scoreboard. We got the Toronto men's roller derby up right now over the Austin Anarchy, 46-43. With a 19:05 to go here in the first half, still a lot of derby to be played.
Oh, it looks like Chat's waking up.
Yeah, a little bit. We got somebody in there. Shout out to. Oh, fun. Having some more scoreboard issues, so we're going to get those squared away. It's times like this I wish I had a soundboard. Play the windows closing.
Yes. I miss having the hotkey computer that you just
Yeah.
hit those. Yes. All those fancy things that like Elgato makes for streamers and everything I want now. It's like shopping list, wish list.
I have a stream deck at home that I play with when I'm streaming online. It's kind of fun.
Oh, I've got the ultimate scoreboard sponsor today. Brought to you by E-Machines.
Wow. See the stream chat starting to come a little bit alive here. We got a couple of people in there chatting about rosters and such this morning. Welcome. If you're just joining us, Austin in black, Toronto in white. Don't forget, Urban Apothecary, our official review sponsor. Skater-made wellness products from Urban Apothecary, like gummies for focus, rest, and sleep. Topical pain relievers and bath soaks at the massage booth all weekend or online at urbanapothecary.shop. You can find them on our link in our iHod link tree, linktr.ee/iHod.
Hold music. That's what we need. Hold music.
Get some elevator music going. No music. Can't have any music on the stream. We'll get banned. The AI is listening.
I, for one, welcome our new overlords.
Our jam timer going to get a nice workout on those shoulders this morning, doing the official review motions. Get that morning workout in. Hey. Oh. Hey, we're going to get going again. Yay. So when we get back in action here on the Derby Beast jammer line, that looks like D-Ray out there for Toronto and Freight Train. No, that's not Freight Train.
Sharknado.
Yeah, it's Sharknado.
Sharknado, my first lead jammer out of turn 2. And here comes D-Ray making that initial pass. Pack sets up at turn 2 in the near far straightaway. Sharknado gets 4 and calls it off.
So that's going to bring the score. That was 4 points. That's going to bring the score to 55-49 in favor of Austin Anarchy. Once again, if you're just joining us, Austin in black, Toronto in white. Bruiser Lee now on the Derby Beast jammer line for the Austin Anarchy. And for Toronto, that is... Can't quite make it out yet. We'll get that for you as soon as I can see him. Bruiser Lee going to be your lead jammer.
Dijon's going to be jamming for Toronto. Still working the initial pass. Meanwhile, here comes Bruiser Lee on a scoring pass.
Four more there for Bruiser Lee and the Austin Anarchy. A well-timed call off there.
And Dijon rolling up on the pack fast, going to force that call off. And Austin only coming away with 4 that jam, now only a 10-point lead. 17-12 on the clock. And a whole nother half. And 4 more games just for today.
Senor Wiener out there for Toronto. Freight Train for Austin.
Freight Train out first for Austin, lead jammer. Senor Wiener still working that initial pass. Freight Train hits the back of the pack. And uses the footwork to get it out. Going to wait second and then call it off.
Freight Train wisely looking over at the penalty box, seeing that they got a blocker sitting there in the CVM box, and waits as long as they can before calling that jam off to kill a few more seconds on that penalty. Sharknado on the line on the Derby Beast jammer line now for Austin. And that looks like it might be it's Stevie out there for Toronto.
Stevie checked on the inside, and Austin looking for a track cut, but Stevie finds an inside lane. A turn one comes out, lead jammer. Toronto down 14 right now. Nice check out on the inside on Sharknado. As they were off to the races, had they shrugged that check off.
So 4 points there for Toronto.
Back to a 10-point game.
D-Ray on the line now for Toronto. Bruiser Lee out there for Austin.
The whole pack lined up on the Derby Beast Jammer line to start. And Bruiser Lee brought all the way back to turn 4. D-Ray getting caught on a penalty, headed to the box. Hang on to the top sports penalty box. And Bruiser Lee will enjoy this power jam to start off. No lead jammer yet. And there's lead jammer.
Took us a full 36 seconds to establish lead jammer this jam. Defense is starting to kick it into high gear. So Bruiser Lee calls that jam off, but not before D-Ray's released from the CVM penalty box. So the power jam comes to an end, and both teams will start this jam at full strength. It's going to be Freight Train on the Derby Beast line for Austin. And I believe that's Dijon out there for... That is for Toronto.
Freight Train out first, lead jammer out of turn 1. Dijon still near on the near straightaway, working that initial pass. Freight Train through, picking up 4. Dijon still working initial pass, stuck at the top sports pivot line, and meanwhile, Freight Train makes a third pass. No pack call, pack getting together. There we go. Freight Train breaks through on the inside on the near straight or far straightaway. Big check out on turn 4. Meanwhile, Pivot Bosch has accepted the star for Toronto. Meets Freight Train with a shoulder check. And then comes in behind the pack as they're playing some jammer offense. Goes for a toe stop spin, doesn't hang on outside of turn 4. Going to be recycled back to turn 1. Freight Train back of the pack now. Works to the inside, trying to find an inside lane. Down to the last 20 seconds of this jam. Toronto breaks out an initial pass for Bosch. Freight Train breaks out, picks up 4, and calls it off.
Yeah, big jam there for Austin, a 20-point jam. And now suddenly that lead has ballooned to 31 points. 11:40 to go here in the first half.
Some killer defense happened in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Previous jam, only 1 point scored.
Sharknado out there now for Austin against Senior Wiener for Toronto.
Oh, we got jammer race here. Looks like Toronto is going to get lead and going to go ahead and call it off.
Yeah, Sharknado got out first, but did not get through cleanly to pick up lead. So Senior gets lead and calls that jam off. like Senior is going to stay out there since that jam went so quickly. And now we're going to have a timeout for Austin, so a Toy Division timeout.
This Toy Division timeout. Be sure to check out Toy Division, an inclusive store and community for anyone who loves toys, video games, collectibles, and everything in between. Make sure you follow Toy Division on Instagram to find out about their next show appearance. You can find link in the iHod link tree /IHOD.
So we're going to take a look at our Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe scoreboard. The current score, Austin Anarchy 84, Toronto Roller Derby 53, 10:46 to go here in the first half. Got a full lineup of Derby action for you today. Coming up at 12 p.m., we've got the Race City Rebels versus the Carolina Wrecking Balls. At 2 p.m., the Beekeepers versus Toronto. At 4 p.m., Austin Anarchy versus the Chicago Bruise Brothers. And then our nightcap at 6 p.m., the Gatekeepers take on Yalhalla. So a full day of Derby action coming ahead of you. Senior Wiener now on the Derby Beast Jammer line for Toronto. Sharknado out there for Austin, and Sharknado quickly grabs lead jammer Austin.
Nice deke there by Senior Wiener. Austin loses a blocker. Sharknado finds the inside turn one, hits the pack, picks up four, and going to call it off.
So Pandemonium Doll sits over in the CVM penalty box, so the lone blocker for Austin. So it'll be a 4-on-3 pack advantage to start here for Toronto. It's Bruiser Lee on the line against Stevie.
And the pack starting up at the Top Sports pivot line initially, rolling back to that Derby Beast Jammer line to start the jam. Here comes Stevie on the outside lane, coming away lead jammer. Back looking for position now, turn 1 and 2. We got a whistle. Forearms, I believe. And it looks like Stevie hits the pack, picks up 2, and calls it off. Austin going to be down 2 blockers to start off this jam. Pack lined up on Top Sports pivot line. And official timeout.
Looks like we're getting a scoring update. It looks like Toronto actually got 3 points on that last jam. Not 2. So we got Austin now has 2 players in the penalty box to start this one. So 4-on-2 pack advantage for Toronto. D-Ray on the line for Toronto. And Freight Train out there for Austin Anarchy.
D-Rail gets out first, lead jammer, and Austin loses another blocker. Freight Train checked out, going to be brought behind the pack. Meanwhile, D-Rail out, picking up 4. I think I heard a destruction there on Anarchy.
CVM penalty box getting a lot of action so far this game.
Jammers rolling up on the pack on the far turn, 3 and 4. Freight Train comes out on the far side, on the outside lane. D-Rail gets a little whip on the outside of turn 1. Toronto's going to keep it going, I think, try to get some points here. Just under a minute on jam time. Derail through first. Picking up 4. Freight Train's in the pack. Toronto's tripod doing some work with Derail picking up another scoring pass.
Yeah, D-Ray so far with a big jam, 20 points already.
D-Ray just going flying through the inside of turn 2 there. Landed all inside, so it was clean, picking up 4 more. Final 5 seconds. Freight Train breaks through and inside.
Yeah.
And 4 points apiece per jammer that pass.
And D-Ray with a 28-point jam. Wow.
Brings them within 12 of Austin now.
And just like that, that lead has diminished significantly. Dijon on the line for Toronto. Sharknado out there for Austin.
7 scoring passes for D-Ray. Dijon in white, still trying to work on that initial pass. And Sharknado on a scoring pass. Sharknado steps through the pack, picking up 4. Toronto still working initial. Toronto passing the star off to the pivot.
That's the dictator now, the jammer for Toronto. Oh, track cut on dictator, so now a power jam here for Austin.
And Sharknado goes through in the inside of turn 1 cleanly, picking up 4. And the pack going to set up at turn 1. And Anarchy has a baby in the back of the pack, going to hold the pack still. It looks like we got some equipment on the track. Cleared by our jammer at this point. Filling time over for the dictator. Back on a scoring pass now. Toronto losing a blocker. Sharknado being brought back to the start of the far straightaway. And jam will end. Austin picking up 23 points to 0 for Toronto. That jam. That's going to take Austin past that century mark, 119 to Toronto's 84. Still 4.5 to go for this first game, or this first half. And official timeout. We got our officials clarifying something with our NSOs. A big thank you to our volunteers, our NSOs, our referees.
Speaking of our NSOs for this game, Rita Slayworth, Millie Dread, Rita Nomad, Count Stefanos, Grinding Nemo, Sadie Masochist, The Doctor, Wildside, and Wheeled Assassin.
Of course, official timeouts are Toy Division timeouts. Toy Division is an all-inclusive storing community for anyone who loves toys, video games, collectibles, and everything in between. Details at the iHod link tree.
So it'll be Senior Wiener out there for Toronto against Bruiser Lee for Austin.
Full strength in the pack. Senior Wiener up front, got 2 blockers, get past, finds an outside lane, gets out, lead jammer.
Star pass to Aquadan for the Austin Anarchy.
Senior Wiener jumps to turn 1, picks up 4, and calls it off. And it looks like we got Stevie up on the jam line now. And Freight Train, I think I see.
Yep, that it is. Against Stevie for Toronto.
Full strength at start jam 20. A Freight Train on the outside of turn 1. Stevie toe stop hopping on the outside lane.
So Stevie getting sent off with like a track cut. So power jam now for Freight Train in Austin. 31-point lead currently for the Austin Anarchy.
And it's Toronto losing a blocker for multiplayer. Their pivot. Freight Train the inside of turn 1. And Pips headed the box for Toronto now. And Peak Slaminade wasn't ready for that Freight Train hit. Gets checked out, going backwards, takes a seat, sliding. And picking up 5 scoring passes. Oh, we have official review. Brought to you by Urban Apothecary.
That is correct.
Skater-made wellness products from Urban Apothecary, like gummies for focus, rest, and sleep, topical pain relievers, and bath soaks at the massage booth all weekend or online at Urban Apothecary Shop. Get your pre- and post-game care and your body needs. Link the iHod link tree, linktree/IHOD. A quick NordVPN scoreboard update. Austin Anarchy with the lead still. 150 left in the first half, 139. Toronto's 92. Again, 150 left in this first half. Our timekeeper is so smooth with his official review.
Yeah.
Hand movements.
So the official review unsuccessful is the signal I'm getting. Okay, so the official review attempted to get a skating out of bounds overturned. That was unsuccessful, so the skating out of bounds will stand. Official review lost. And it's going to be Sharknado on the line, on the Derby Beast Jammer line solo as the Power Jam begins. Stevie sits in the penalty box. So Sharknado is going to be your lead jammer, Austin Anarchy.
Sharknado cuts the inside of turn 2, picking up on a scoring pass. Stevie's penalty time over, making that initial pass. Sharknado hits the back, calls it off. 4-0 advantage, that pass. Total 8-0, that jam. Tick down to 1 minute on the game clock.
What will likely be the last jam of the game, and it's going to be D-Ray out there for Toronto. Bruiser Lee for Austin. Bruiser Lee, our lead jammer. Bruiser Lee going to call that jam off.
0-point signal per team, and that will be your intermission.
Yep, so, yeah, unless somebody calls a timeout here, we're going to go into the half.
Oh, I guess there is still a time on the clock.
And all right, everybody, second half about to get underway here in just a few seconds. Take a quick look at the scoreboard here. Austin Anarchy 147, Toronto Men's Roller Derby 92. And to start things off here in the second half, it's going to be Senior Wiener against, looks like Sharknado on the Derby Beast jammer line. Second half underway.
Sharknado up front, breaking out first against that Toronto four-wall lead jammer. Toronto losing Pink Slaminade to the penalty box. I think I saw Aquadan pivot for Austin head of the box as well. Sharknado passes through on the outside, this time at turn 1 rather than the inside.
We got a power jam here for Austin to start off the second half. Senior Wiener sitting in the penalty box.
Goes to the outside lane, gets tripped up, going to call it off. First minute of the second half down.
Only 29 to go.
With power start with Senior Wiener in the box. Pivot for Austin standing in the box. And the pack lined up on the pivot line. That'd be that Top Sports pivot line. Austin loses one of their blockers. Cat tricks. Freight Train still working there, and there's the lead jammer. Freight Train out of the far straightaway. Coming away lead. Shreddy Kruger taking the ref lane to the penalty box. Senor Wiener making the initial pass. Austin losing a third blocker. And Senor Wiener sneaks through, picking up 4 more.
So Austin with, as many people as in the box you can have. We got 2 blockers sitting, 1 standing. So El Limon will be the lone blocker out there for Austin as Stevie takes the line against Bruiser Lee. If you're just joining us, Austin in black, Toronto in white.
Both jammers taking the outside lane initially. Stevie with a nice toe move, or a foot move, just shrugging that off, coming out of the near straightaway lead jammer. Second scoring pass for Stevie. Toronto crosses the century mark now. And it looks like penalty time, or penalties all clear, or penalty box is all cleared out, I'm trying to say. Stevie being brought back to the jam line. And Bruiser Lee holding the star, working the outside of turn 1, coming back, recycling and finding inside of turn 1 to get away on that initial pass. Stevie working against Austin defense, trying to get out. Going to go ahead and call it off with Bruiser Lee rolling up on the pack. And Stevie picking up those final 3 points of that pass. 11-0 advantage Toronto.
So now it's Sharknado out there for Austin going up against D-Ray for Toronto.
D-Ray working on the outside. Sharknado working the middle lane. Gets checked down the inside. And the Toronto player is going to get called on the forearms. D-Ray's out first, lead jammer. Looks like that was Sleep headed to the box for that forearms for Toronto. D-Ray toe stop hops through the inside of turn 2. Sharknado gets into the pack, picking up points. 4 apiece. About a 15-foot distance between her jammers. Sharknado skates ahead on the inside. D-Ray comes through, leapfrogging, coming away with 4.
Yep, D-Ray running this jam a little long, trying to get this blocker out of the box. Spencer Sleeps coming back into play. Penalty comes to an end.
Toe stop went out. He's going to recycle behind. Meanwhile, Sharknado checked out of turn 1, coming in right behind that blocker. D-Ray goes for the inside jump. Apex jump. Picks up 4 and skates away. Sharknado mixing it up on the outside of turn 2. Going to break away as Toronto loses Sleep again, headed back to the box.
So a 16-12 jam in favor of Toronto. And now it's going to be Freight Train out there for Austin against Dijon for Toronto.
Austin with the advantage in the pack with Sleep starting off in the box. Here comes Freight Train, the inside turn one, hops through off the last blocker, picking up lead jammer. And destruction call on one of the Austin players. That's 119. Truffle shuffle. Freight Train blowing through the pack, picking up 4. Dijon working that initial pass, trying to toe stop, hop out, gets checked, going to recycle behind. Freight Train in the inside, 4. And Dijon going to get caught on a track cut there, gets tripped up. Feet went out of bounds, I think. Is why that got called.
So now a power jam here for Austin. Freight Train already 8 points on the board. Looking to add to that total here.
Minute 5 on jam time. Toronto's defense is holding the pack still up there up front of turn 1. Total of 10 for Austin that jam.
Next up on the Derby Beast jammer line, unopposed. It'll be a power start for Bruiser Lee for Austin.
Dijon starting off in the CVM Sports penalty box. And Austin lines up on a straight line for offense on the inside lane.
Oh, now it's going to be a power jam for Toronto as Dijon re-enters play. So an opportunity here for Toronto.
Dijon working that inside lane, keeps getting checked on the inside.
Dijon.
Toronto stalling the pack on the far straightaway now. Going to force bridging. Good job by Toronto's defense stopping Austin from running their jammer back.
So power jam comes to an end. Bruiser Lee re-enters the pack.
I don't believe we've had a lead jammer established yet.
No, we do not.
I'm assuming.
And we're actually not gonna have a lead jammer because Dijon's taken the star off.
Oh yeah, I did not notice that.
And now a track cut on Bruiser Lee, so another power jam, but Dijon still has not completed the initial pass.
And it looks like that penalty will end just before the jam ends. Good news for Austin for the next jam. Truffle shuffle mixing up with Toronto's defense in the back. While Austin's defense just soul crushes Dijon up front. And Dijon passing the star off now as jam ends. 2 final point signal for Austin.
That was a whole lot of skating for only 2 points.
2 minutes for 2-0.
Sharknado on the Derby Beast jammer line now, going up against, looks like Senor Wiener for Toronto.
Tick past the 20-minute mark.
Senor Wiener going to be your lead jammer, Toronto.
Senior Wiener coming in hot in turn 2, kicks the outside rather. Checked out, comes in behind, working against Austin's front wall. Sharknado finding an inside lane, coming out of the far straightaway. Picking up 4. Last man to beat against Austin. Here comes Senior Winner, 4 points. Sharknado through, picking up 4. Senior Winner hits the pack and starts calling it off. Picking up 2 and calling it off.
So an 8-6 jam in favor of Austin there. So non-lead jam points. And next up on the Derby Beast Jammer line, it's going to be Stevie for Toronto going up against Freight Train for Austin.
And 1 apiece in the CVM Sports penalty box. And the pack rolls back to the Derby Beast Jammer line. Stevie out first inside, lead jammer. No pack called. Sleep's going to let go, and Freight Train's going to get out on the initial. Stevie goes for a jump, gets tripped up, going to call it off. 0 signal for both.
Bruiser Lee now out there for Austin. And that's D-Ray out there for Toronto.
Austin with the blocker advantage in the pack, and Bruiser Lee coming out first. Lead jammer for Austin. D-Ray getting recycled back to turn 1, plays a little jammer on jammer defense. Goes back to getting through down that initial pass now, while Bruiser Lee was on that scoring pass and now second. Toe stops on the inside, picks up the 4 and calls it. For all you kids watching at home, make sure you do your 1-foot glides and balance work. 16.5 to go.
We got a Toy Division timeout called by Austin.
And Toy Division's an inclusive store and community for anyone who loves toys, video games, collectibles, and everything in between. Make sure you follow Toy Division on Instagram to find out their next show appearance. Link in the iHod linktree /IHOD.
All right, we'll take a quick look at our Wayland Yutani scoreboard. It's Austin Anarchy 199, Toronto Men's Roller Derby 129. 16-17 to go here in the second half. And again, we're under a timeout called by the Austin Anarchy.
For any of our friends that are tuning in, didn't get to tune in yesterday, recap of yesterday, starting off at game 1, it was Beekeepers and Chicago Brews Brothers. Chicago taking the win 185-179, and I'll revisit this later.
So it's Dijon out there for Toronto, Sharknado for Austin. Sharknado going to be your lead jammer, Austin Anarchy.
Our jammers away. Sharknado rolls up on the pack. Pack gets set up. Sharknado weaving through, cuts the outside lane. I'm going to go ahead and call it off with Dijon rolling up on the pack, 4-0. Back to that score update for you guys. Yesterday, game 1, Chicago beat the Beekeepers 185-179. Race City Rebels beat Yawhala 192-122. And game 3, Gatekeepers beat Carolina Wrecking Balls 337-123. Again, right now, 203-129. Austin, Toronto, 15:20 on the clock.
So it's Freight Train out there now for Austin. Stevie out there for Toronto.
Austin losing the blocker. Freight Train with 2 to get past. Breaks out. Lead jammer. Pack sets up between turn 1 and 2. Aquadan looking a little soul crushing there. Freight Train literally hits the pack. No points called either team.
Next up on the Derby Beast Jam line, that's Bruiser Lee for Austin against Senior Wiener for Toronto.
Toronto with a blocker advantage. And Toronto's going to be lead jammer. Going to go ahead and call it off. There's a race between the 2 jammers and a blocker to see who's going to get out of there first.
Now we got a timeout called by Toronto, a Toy Division timeout.
Again, Toy Division's an all-inclusive store and community for anybody who loves toys, video games, collectibles, and everything in between. Make sure you follow Toy Division on Instagram to find out their next show appearance. Link in the iHod linktree/IHOD.
Searching for the perfect jersey that fits like a dream, can be pulled, stretched, and won't snag? Derby Beast has you covered, literally. Crafted from durable, quick-dry 260 GSM polyester elastic blend that wicks moisture and resists snags, all while offering the stretch you need to move freely on the track. Those are Derby Beast jerseys. You can check them out if you're here in person. They're over in the corner of turn 3. I see Jenny sitting over there. She'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. So be sure to stop by and talk to them about getting yourself some new threads. About to get back into action here.
Back rolling back on the jammer line, the Derby Beast jammer line to start us off.
D-Ray is going to be your lead jammer for Toronto. Sharknado out there for Austin.
Pack setting up at turn 2. D-Ray goes inside jump, no lean, doesn't land it clean. Gonna recycle back to turn 1. Sharknado's out of the pack with 4. D-Ray checked out. He's gonna go ahead and call it off. Looks like D-Ray able to pick up 2, so 3. So a 1-point advantage for Austin that jam.
So Freight Train out there for Austin. Dijon out there for Toronto. Freight Train going to be your lead jammer, Austin Anarchy.
Dijon with a 3-wall, now 2-wall. Shrugs off another one, they're recycling. But Dijon picks up the penalty, forearms. So Freight Train will have a power jam with the lead jammer here. Austin's defense doing some soul crushing on Bosch, checking them back all the way back to turn 4. Freight Train with 1 blocker to push past. Now here comes another Toronto blocker. And Dijon rejoining the pack gets called on the track cut. And now being told to return to the track. All right, Dijon making their initial pass now. Freight Train another scoring pass. And Dijon rolling up. Freight Train's going to go ahead and call it off.
So a 19-point jam there for Freight Train, and that stretches Austin's lead to 226 to 132. 10:53 to go here in the second half. It's going to be Stevie out there now on the Derby Beast jammer line against Bruiser Lee for Austin.
Pack's full strength. Nice check off the whistle by Bruiser Lee.
Bruiser Lee going to be your lead jammer.
Sleep getting caught on a penalty against Bruiser Lee there. Head of the box. Toronto down their pivot. Stevie's still working the initial pass, and here comes Bruiser Lee through. Nice transition past the pack. Bruiser Lee, 1 foot gliding through in the inside, picking up 4. You're going to wait till Stevie rolls up on the pack literally to call it off, eat that time up.
So Colonel Angus and Spencer Sleep sitting in the penalty box, the CVM penalty box. So one blocker from each squad. So a 3-on-3 pack as Senior Wiener takes the Derby Beast jammer line against Sharknado for Austin.
Both jammers taking the outside lane initially. Here comes Senior Wiener out of the pack first, lead jammer. His team with the blocker advantage.
Yeah, Senior Wiener just streaking through the pack right now.
I think I saw him getting checked by his own teammate by accident. Sharknado out on the initial pass. And here comes Senior Wiener breaking through, picking up 4. Two total passes for Senior Wiener, picking up 8 for Toronto. On the jam line, we got D-Ray for Toronto, Freight Train for Austin. Penalty box clear, full strength in the pack. Jam 17 underway. D-Ray towards the front, working side to side. Bean dips down on the apex, outside apex, coming away lead. Freight Train passing the star off to the pivot, Aquadan. D-Ray breaks through, picking up 4. Aquadan getting checked out by Sleep, going to be brought back to turn 1. Meanwhile, D-Ray picking up 4. Takes the inside, cuts the outside. Low block on one of the Austin players. Tripping up D-Ray, or no, excuse me, low block on D-Ray. We'll have our full 2-minute jam.
Just what everyone loves this late in the game, a full 2-minute jam.
Oh. And a track cut. And now D-Ray.
I don't think it's really fair that the jammers get to take a rest during this 2-minute jam.
Well, he didn't get the rest, only 3 seconds. I mean,
Still counts. The CVM penalty box getting a lot of action this game.
I'm just remembering back to last year. The thing was elbows every game.
Yeah, now it's like forearms is the
forearms
big
every
one.
game
Yeah.
last year, yeah.
It's like they clean up one thing and now they get another. So a 16-8 jam there in favor of Toronto. 5:46 to go here in the second half, and it's going to be Bruiser Lee out there against Dijon on the Derby Beast jammer line.
Pack starting up at the top sports pivot line. Pack rolls around to the far straightaway. No lead jammer yet. Sharknado now at the back, working against Toronto's four wall. Dijon skating ahead. No pack called. Toronto bringing Sharknado back. Dijon one blocker to work past and breaks out lead jammer. A 42-second earn lead jam status. Dijon breaks through the inside lane, 4 points. Sharknado on a scoring pass as well. Here comes Dijon hitting the pack. Second scoring pass.
A high block call on Bruiser Lee, so now a power jam for Toronto. Dijon's gonna call that off, so it'll be a power start here for Stevie.
And wrapping up that pass, a 4-3 advantage. And a team timeout for Toronto.
That's a toy division timeout.
Toy Division's an all-inclusive store with community for anyone who loves toys, video games, collectibles, and everything in between. Make sure to follow Toy Division on Instagram to find out about their next show appearance. Link on the iHod Linktree, linktree/IHOD. Next game we got coming up, we got Race City Ribbles taking on Carolina Wrecking Balls. That'll be at noon. Then about 2 o'clock, we'll have the Beekeepers taking on Toronto. After that, Austin Anarchy taking on Chicago. And then to wrap up tonight, it's Gatekeepers taking on Yohala. And, of course, a whole another day of Derby tomorrow. Toronto team timeout has ended.
So Stevie starts this jam unopposed and quickly finds the inside line. Is going to be your lead jammer, Toronto.
Toronto with a blacker advantage in the pack.
Stevie took a shot there and quickly called that jam off. So D-Ray out there for Toronto's. Bruiser Lee still in the penalty box, so power start here. D-Ray, your lead jammer.
Espain getting caught on the forearms there. Out of the box for Austin.
Bruiser Lee completing the initial pass for Austin.
D-Ray finds an inside lane of turn 2, coming away at 4. Nice check by the Dictator, taking Sharknado back. And D-Ray stepping through the inside, middle to the out. Finds the way around. Austin picks up 4 more.
So Bruiser Lee with the star pass to, I believe that's Aquadan. Yep. Meanwhile, D-Ray with 4 more points on the board.
Oh, D-Ray goes for the outside lane, gets checked out, going to call it off. Looks like 1 point signal for Austin.
Bruiser Lee picked up a penalty there at the end of that jam as a blocker, so they'll be in the penalty box here, the CVM penalty box. Meanwhile, it's going to be, looks like Senior Wiener out there for Toronto. Sharknado out there for Austin to start on the Derby Beast jammer line.
It looks like D-Ray picked up 15 that last jam.
So what could very well be the last jam of the game now underway, just over a minute on the clock. Senior Wiener going to be lead jammer for Toronto.
Senior Wiener throwing teammate into the opposing blocker to try to clear path. And it looks like Senior Wiener caught on the track cut out of turn 3. So we're going to have a full 2-minute final jam.
Oh, get some bonus derby in. Who doesn't love that?
Final 45. Both jammers back on the track. Sharknado picking up those scoring passes. Here comes D-Ray. Demolishing the defense of Anarchy. Picks up 4. Sleep going for a big check on Sharknado. Bruiser Lee looking to catch Sleep on the track cut. Bruiser Lee too focused on Sleep, and D-Ray sneaks by. Thinking Kittrix was too far out of play to catch that track cut. 2-1.
So 3 more points there for Austin. A 27-point jam for Austin to finish out. 8 points on the board for Toronto. Right now our unofficial score, 280 to 188. Just waiting for that final whistle for this to be an official one.
And as many points as that is, that's still not the biggest point jam we had. It was 28 was the highest.